Bronze Age Maros Ostojicevo Serbia, 1950 BCE. Sample I23209. Location Serbia. Culture Bronze Age Maros. Age about 1950 BC. Y-DNA R1b. mtDNA K1A1A. I share 47.29 centimorgans, 6 SNP chains, largest chain 26.57. Closest ancient groups: Illyrians, Pannonian Illyrians, Thracians, Etruscans, and Gauls. Closest modern groups: North Italian, Spanish Galicia, Portuguese, Spanish Cataluna, Spanish Extremadura, Spanish Castilla y León, Spanish Murcia, Spanish Andalusia. Sample I23209 was found in Ostojicevo in northern Serbia. In the paper Genetic History of the Southern Arc, a bridge between West Asia and Europe, Supplementary Materials, we read, Ostojicevo Necropolis, Early and Middle Bronze Age. The Stari Vinogradi necropolis at the village of Ostojicevo belongs to the Early and Middle Bronze Age. A total of 285 graves were discovered, out of which 77 belongs to the Early Bronze Age Maros culture, buried at a deeper level. The rest of the 208 belong to the Middle Bronze Age, i.e. late phase of the Maros culture, with different influences of Vatin and Hugelgraber cultures. Among 208 graves, there are 103 graves of children, mostly newborn and infants, buried inside urns following existing practices, Maros culture burial practices. The material is non-published. On Indo-European.eu, titled Maros Shows Yamnaya-Derived East Bell-Beaker Culture Ancestry and Local Admixture by Carlos Giles. And we read, due to its distribution over 3 countries, Hungary, Romania, Serbia, its long duration of 500 years, and the early discovery of both graves and settlement sites, this culture group is known by several terms and names. In order to avoid further confusion, we'll refer to it as the early Maros culture. There is, in the cultural entity of this early Maros culture, a kind of regional exclave of the Danubian Early Bronze Age in southeastern Hungary, southwestern Romania, and northern Serbia, far outside its core area north of the Alps. The arrangement of the cemeteries, the burials and burial customs, and material cultures found at sites. On academia.edu, osseous artifacts from the Maros culture necropolis at Ostojicevo, northern Serbia. Selina Vidazovic. Some of the burials of the Maros culture contained rich funerary equipment that encompassed ceramic vessels, bronze weapons, bronze and gold jewelry, as well as ornaments made from osseous raw materials, bones. On academia.edu, from the paper Raw Material Choices from Ornaments in the Bronze Age Maros Culture, the Maros culture of the early Bronze Age was widespread in the southern Carpathian Basin around the confluence of the Tisa and Maros rivers. In the Serbian part of Banat, 2 large cemeteries were excavated in the 20th century, Ostojicevo and Mokrin. The burials were usually equipped with diverse grave goods, ceramic vessels, metal jewelry, metal weapons, and also relatively large amounts of ornaments made from osseous raw materials, shells from several species, possibly both fossil and fresh. Strict material choices for specific artifact types can be noted, such as small bones for beads, while perforated teeth were almost exclusively dog canines, with rare occurrences of red deer canines or horses or cattle teeth. Despite common presumptions that the metal ornaments had greater value because of the raw material, and that the osseous ornaments were simply cheap substitutes, these 2 necropolises prove otherwise. These ornaments display long use, sometimes were even repaired, suggesting that they were valued and perhaps even had some symbolic significance. Use of mollusk shells in different stages of preservation, some even heavily damaged and fragmented, as well as presence of copies of pendants in white stone, suggests that the osseous ornaments had the value of their own right, related to their physical properties, in particular shiny white color and or for the attributes ascribed to the animals for which they derived. Bronze Age Maros Ostojicevo Serbia, 1950 BC.